gets ready to roll out here. Following kickoff, possessing here in the dark-colored uniforms, going to be the Michigan State Spartans. Movement down the line and already trying to get aggressive. Matthews coming off of that hat trick, trying to build on the far side. Very offensive approach, a lot of shifting early from this Michigan State team.
Throw-in attempt. You're going to see how Michigan State can use that space and create those matchups they want tonight. Keep saying tonight. It's a beautiful day here. Lovely sun in the sky, barely any clouds, looking like Andy's room from Toy Story. It's very
really
much
does.
today, not tonight.
Yeah, that is true. No Slinky Dog, so it's not quite Andy's room, but it is a fantastic crowd here as well. Here to enjoy. Movement along the back line here from this Michigan State team. Again, they're a very patient group. They wait for you to show some weakness, and they pounce on it.
Oh, absolutely they do, especially in that goal box. Michigan State's, I mean, even all the way back to the defenders, you get anybody making a run at the ball, and absolutely anything can happen. With this team, they're just so good at finding that space. As we see here, the foul called on Loyola.
And this is a key point you talked about earlier. Set pieces have been very successful for Michigan State.
Yeah, especially that right there. Haven't been a lot of huge sweeping crosses. Jeff Hostler likes to find an open foot and then exploit the defense from there. So we're going to see more of that, especially from the corners. He's told me against Queens after that game, he said that we've only seen the first layer of what they have cooked up for this season as we get into Big Ten play. So I don't know if we're going to see the 1.5 layer here as they start testing things out right before conference starts, but Jeff Hostler has plenty up there that he hasn't shown opponents yet.
So for Harrison and the Ramblers trying to build something, and it'll be taken away by Michigan State. Matthews can't bring it in, though. It'll be a throw-in. I believe the first of the day for the Ramblers. Long throw down the line. That was a big throw there.
Yeah, that was impressive. Emily Roberts, the junior, she must be the throw taker for that reason.
Yeah, Michigan State will want to keep tabs on that, especially as you get closer to the goal on the other side. As for the Spartans, they're really forcing this Loyola team to play pretty far forward here. This possession game, it can be very frustrating, especially when you're in one of these games where you're expected to kind of be the underdog, as the Ramblers are.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And we always talk about Jeff Hostler's brilliance and how this team can play together and find space and find open feet. But individually, every player on this team is so dangerous and so skilled with the ball at their feet, especially Justina Gaynor there. She makes some moves that make the crowd ooh and ah at least a few times a game. But you get anybody with the feet at the ball, and they can exploit any different part of the defense.
Little bit of room to move around. Najera dropping it back. A lot of comfort with the ball at the foot of the defenders because, again, everyone has some excellent footwork for this team. Beerworth with a little pullback. Spartans setting up on the strong side, sending up Illig. Opportunity just outside the 18. Nice defense by the Ramblers. Potential cross coming in from Beerworth. Laid down. Touch taken, and that's going to be a corner for Michigan State. A spot, again, where they've found a lot of success this season.
Yeah, they have. We're going to see what comes out of it here. You can see as we watch this deflection just off the foot there of Ava Metai. But this corner game, does it go wide and sweeping or right to Meg Hughes there is usually the play.
High swinging ball, head on it, popped up and tipped over the crossbar. Nice reaction by Allison Deerdorf.
Yeah, Deerdorf has had a great first 6 games in goal for the Ramblers. But she's going to be tested here tonight. Michigan State still the number 5 team in the country. Picked up a huge win on Thursday. Should stay pretty good in the rankings, even though Queen's not a top contender. But if they can pick up all these non-conference wins, stay undefeated through non-conference play, especially with that schedule that Jeff Hostler made here, it would be a big victory.
Yeah, and being able to go undefeated in the non-conference would feel about as good as it does today. 67 degrees and sunny. It is a gorgeous day here in East Lansing.
Did you smell that smell outside last night? It felt like the first sniffs of fall here in East Lansing.
Leaves still haven't quite changed color, but you get the feeling it's coming soon.
Oh, absolutely.
Cut over towards the middle. The Ramblers have really gotten bunched up there in the middle in this transitional defense. That's going to be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and this Michigan State team can stretch you so far. They're so dangerous. As there's Jorth all the way up at the top of your screen. The defenders play wide and they play up front when it comes down to it. We've got Beerworth here on the other side. They've both picked up some assists off of that ability to cross it over as they get in deep. That time the ball just falls away from the feet, but this Michigan State back line is so dangerous, especially in that sense.
Abel did a nice job of boxing that one out. Going to set up a goal kick here. Fired off from Deerdorf. And then there is a whole horde of Spartans there. Trying to build something up the line. Excellent transition defense. Numbers get back, and that's going to be a foul on the Spartans.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Are oftentimes the difference. This one gets played back to Parks. Again, such a good presence there in the net for Michigan State. This one a long driven ball, race to it. Hard contact. Again, a nice job boxing it out by Abel, and Deerdorf will pick it up.
Yeah, Elena Abel's been really good back there. Loyola also trusting her. Against Mackenzie Anthony, you can be so dangerous. That's 2 really good kind of box outs.
It's kind of all about framing them out of that situation, and my goodness, it's been very impressive. Handled a couple of dangerous opportunities, as this is going to be a throw-in here on the lower end by the goal for Loyola. As we saw last time, they did have a big throw-in, so I'm interested to see what they do here.
Yeah, and we see that again. What a beautiful clean tackle by Jorth.
Long throw-in fired in, headed up, attempting to hit it out of the air from Harrison, and looks like it will be going to Michigan State. So Parks with the ball off the deck here. Moving it forward for the Spartans. Just under half an hour to go here in the first half of action. Still tied at zeros. Both sides have registered 2 shots, though things have been a lot busier down here on the right end. This one crossed over towards the middle. And nice job to get it and take care of business there from, that is Metai.
Yeah, this Loyola back line has been playing really well. Metai and Abel. We're going to see Michigan State always finds ways to exploit at some point, as look at that strike. Bella Najera so dangerous from anywhere on the field. She had a beautiful touch there when she received the ball, turned around, was able to fire it. And we're setting up another corner for Michigan State. But yeah, look at that. Just off the top.
And if you blink, you'll miss her. She just swings into a shot so quickly, and a really nice touch by Deerdorf there.
And she could play anywhere on the field. She does position herself anywhere on the field.
This ball a little close, but Michigan State going to have a chance to try to put something back together.
And look at that
between the
from
wickets. Drive along the line, laid off, shot coming and handled by Deerdorf. Excellent ability to take care of a real good chance from Michigan State.
That touch by Gaynor on the end line was so beautiful. Able to get past the defense and then kick it over to Meg Hughes. And I want to point out that those were the two that were – Gaynor made the corner kick, and Meg Hughes was standing right next to her, and they're who end up getting the action right in front of the goal. That's what I'm talking about with these set pieces that are so critical to this Michigan State offense.
Ball had a little too much weight on it, and it's offsides. Spartans got a little ahead of themselves, but I had a great coach once, Scott Hankins, that told me a great striker is always very close to being offsides, and he would only say that when we weren't offsides. When we were, he was pretty mad.
Exactly. I mean, classic coach move there. Only right when you do it the way that I say it.
Right. It's not a big deal until I say it is.
Exactly. But that's a good point. And Michigan State even can be 2 or 3 steps behind the defenders in many of these games and still end up past them off the pass just because of the speed that they all have.
And it's not just the tempo that's impressive here. It's their ability to maintain it. The conditioning is fantastic for this group. Sets Matthews about 20 yards out. Spartans again looking dangerous, and this Loyola line is doing a very good job of holding it tight, not letting them get close.
Yeah, they're very scared of Spartans in the centers. You can see those kind of 6 core defenders that are hugging right in the middle of the goal box. They all kind of swarm to the ball when it gets there, and that's where Michigan State's been dangerous. That's where a lot of goals come from just in general. So easy to see what they're trying to do here. We're going to see if Michigan State's going to exploit the sides, the wings that they leave open when they do that.
There's a good opportunity on the counterattack there from Loyola, but just couldn't get the numbers up for support. Now the Spartans with a dangerous chance. This one is loose. Ball kicked off of Deerdorf. Deerdorf now out of the box, going to be content to send it for a corner, and that was a nice heads-up decision by the sophomore.
Yeah, Allison Deerdorf saw no action last year and has been the starter, and she shows exactly why this year they've called on her. Able to clear it out because Meg Hughes had a Spartan running for the goal just beyond her if she could get it past, which she could not.
Hughes shaking that off. I like this from Loyola. A couple short, trying to combat a low hanger. Maybe force them to loft this ball up a little bit higher, perhaps to the Ramblers' advantage. This one's high floating over towards the middle. No one able to get ahead to it, staying there in the middle. And Deerdorf is able to collect.
Yeah, Hostler said after their last win that some of these free kicks that he's designing are mostly because Michigan State does not have that elite aerial presence that they have had in years past. They still have a very good aerial presence, not to take away from those forwards, but not quite this team size that they have had in the past. So he's been designing some ways to get to open feet, and Loyola's seen that in the film and are sending some players up top, but then that leaves you vulnerable in the box if you can get it there.
No doubt the Spartans will have to be thinking, you always have to think a couple steps ahead, but this may be their best chance at a counterattack, but we have to see what the Ramblers can put together first. Long kick from Abel, nice touch, and there we see the Spartans doing a good job of claiming this one out of the air. Good possession here. Again, Taylor Harrison, she's just sneaky. She finds her way onto that ball.
She really does. She wants it. Those players that want the ball no matter where they are and what position they're in, that's who you got to look out for.
Athletic play by Beerworth to prevent the throw-in, or the corner kick rather, and prefer the throw-in, as we will see our first substitutions coming in here for the Spartans.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the
I
action.
thought Governor State was weird. Every state is a governor.
Very true. What makes Illinois the governor state? I've always been confused by the Garden State of New Jersey. I don't know how many gardens they have there.
Nice header put on frame, but Abel couldn't get enough behind it. Tried to plant it like a garden in the corners, but instead gets picked up by Parks.
That was class there, Charlie.
Oh, thank you. Trying to get in mid-season form here on the broadcast early for a non-conference for us as well.
Yeah, exactly right. And yeah, that was a really good head opportunity. Loyola has some aerial threats.
And they are going to call that one offsides. Meg Hughes gets caught by the offside trap. Again, this Loyola back line is moving as a group very well. They're making it very hard to stay on sides.
Yeah, they really are. And that was Abel who had that header attempt at the other end. So this back line is kind of my MVP line for the Ramblers so far. If you can hold Michigan State to no goals through the first half, that's already a great mark of success because that hasn't happened too many times so far.
For Loyola, Chicago celebrated a first for them. It was their first time scoring on Purdue earlier this year and first time tying with them as well. So they've already seen some success against the Big Ten, trying to grow on it here. Nice footwork there by Beerworth and resilience to stay with that ball. This one floated in, going to be headed towards the area out of bounds, and it's going to be a corner kick. Deerdorf couldn't keep it in.
And to your point of the first goal they've ever scored against Purdue, that one goal that they've scored in that game all the way back in 1993, I believe. It's their only one all time against MSU. MSU holds a 32-1 advantage in goal scoring through their 6 games. That one goal also came in a 10-1 victory for Michigan State. So I don't know how much they were celebrating that one goal on the Rambler side.
Sometimes you got to celebrate not getting shut out. It happens. So that one took a strange bounce. It's going to be cleared out. And I think the Ramblers will be content to have a throw in there.
In for the Spartans, number 17, Allie Maird.
Looks like a couple subs will be coming on. Gabby Mueller, one of them, joining this group.
Yeah, Gabby Mueller, the transfer from Baylor, was here last season, though. She started every single game in the green and white. 6 goals and 2 assists for her. Really big piece that Jeff Hosler has just been building with these transfers, these graduate students. Michigan State's an old team right now, 8 fifth years and graduate students.
Just in case if you were wondering, what has happened between the last time that these two teams, there was a goal scored by Loyola Chicago, NAFTA did not exist. So it's been a minute.
That is another crazy pull.
So now it's a chance, 1-on-2 here. Pressure trying to be applied up front, but Lay cannot get it.
Yeah, Allie Marin had just subbed in along with Gabby Mueller, and she made a beautiful tackle there to get the ball back for the Spartans. When you're all the way out that far, you could just foul and stop the run there, but
good job of not doing that in that situation, right?
Very much.
Hard ball, but a good job trapping it there by Crayon. And the Spartans getting physical here in the midfield as we get down to about 15 minutes to go here in this first half of action. which honestly it's kind of been a lack thereof.
I was just about to say, it doesn't feel like 30 minutes have passed with what's happened so far. Michigan State's had 6 corner kick opportunities, none of them really producing much of any threat, and 5 shots to Loyola's 3 through this one. Michigan State had 26 shots against Queens on Thursday.
And that shot difference may only currently be 2, but it's been in the offensive third of Michigan State a whole lot more as this one's laid up. Potentially dangerous ball and a nice job shielding on the defensive line. That is truly commendable for number 19, Olivia Rhodes. You always have to be careful. You don't want to commit the penalty in the box, but nice job of shielding all the same.
Yeah, that was perfect because Mueller was running.
This is a dangerous chance for Loyola. Step over, shot fired off and not on frame. Ava Bryan tried to put something together there up front. My apologies, I believe that was Heavey up top.
Yeah, Belle Okarafo had absolutely nothing to do in that game because I mentioned 26 shots against Queens for Michigan State, 0 shots coming back at them. So quite the one-sided affair. This has not at all been that way, but Michigan State still in their own attacking side for most of it, or at least working their way through the progression phase of their game.
Aggressive play here in the middle. Laid up towards Lee. And Spartan's going to intercept that once again. Spartan's possession style has kind of set the tone for this game. They have established the pace and have been keeping it like a metronome.
Yeah, it's just been tick-tock back and forth between Spartan feet. A few times they've tried to make some runs at it, but nothing quite yet.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
And this is going to be a foul just outside of the box, maybe 18 and a half yards away, and this is going to be a fantastic opportunity for the Spartans.
And this was something that we watched them practice earlier as they were warming up. That one, Gabby Mueller's foot in the air and crashed down upon by the Loyola defense. We'll see what they have in store. Like you said, look at how close that is to the line. Well, lucky that it was outside of the box.
3 premier players that could take this ball here in the discussion.
And that man right there, what does Hostler have cooked up?
Gaynor shoots this one, and it is a mile high. Would have been a good field goal from about 35 yards out.
Would have been a beautiful game-winning field goal last night. Jonathan Kim ending it for Michigan State to go up 2-0 in Big Ten play. Cassidy Corcione checking in, but yeah, that one, a lot of misdirection there for Gaynor to just try to smash it in, and that time not much to come of it.
Sometimes your weight just gets too far back and it fires the ball straight up. It's real hard to stay over the top of it in a situation such as that. And this one is going to go Loyola's way after, I believe that was a foul called.
And especially a good thing to think about, as we were talking about with Gaynor, when your coach greenlights you to make that kind of free kick, you got to be excited. I mean, come on, I'm going to get to blast it from however many yards you have out. So that time just a little bit way too far back, like you said.
Just over 5 minutes to go here in our first half of action. No one's broken through. A couple good opportunities for both sides, though. We thank you for joining us on what many would refer to as the first Sunday of NFL action. For the Michigan State crowd, probably most interested in the Lions. They'll be playing tonight. As for the Loyola group, Bears starting their season off down 10-0.
And that's somewhat expected, unfortunately, for Bears fans, but a new era with Caleb Williams. You could call him a Big Ten quarterback, I guess. He wasn't while he was playing at USC, but...
Or you can call him an SEC quarterback from his time at Oklahoma.
Man, what kind of world are we living in, Charlie?
Man, wake me up. I can't wake up.
A whole new reality.
A landscape where Michael Penix stayed a Big Ten quarterback. As the ball moves along the back line. Now, all the way over there, Jorth is doing a good job of trying to instigate some play. Under 4 minutes to go here in the first half, setting up a shot, and that one, again, just skied, a little too far under it.
Yeah, Michigan State really going for it here with a couple far-out tries. So we have 3:30 left. I think that they're going to have a lot to say. Each of these coaches are going to have a lot to say to their teams at halftime and maybe think up a little different of the strategy. Michigan State, I would say, just to keep doing what you're doing, but find a way to break into that center box that Loyola's had. And then for Loyola, the Michigan State defense, even from the forward perspective, when they're trying to win the ball back, they're smothering. So you're going to have to come up with a counterattack like we saw a couple times almost work out. And these long balls here off that throw-in, once again by Roberts, something to get the ball past the back line and have one of your forwards run to it, because hasn't been much of a chance to get open play.
Spartans trying to make something happen, and nice defensive work by Rhodes. She has been very active on that back line.
Yeah, especially working against Najera there, who's Spartans' reigning leading goal scorer. And here, it's exactly what we're talking about. Get an open run for Loyola.
Lay lays it off, shot coming in. And not going to be a great look there. Good hustle by Heavey, but just couldn't square it up.
Yeah, that was a really good ball. But even better sandwich defense from Michigan State that came in from either side, and Heavey really only had one option to kick it off right as the ball reached her foot. Nothing to come of it. But that's exactly the kind of offense that I was talking about for Loyola to succeed. You got to find another way, because your progressionary phase isn't really working off too well for you right now.
1 minute and 30 seconds. Just about all that's left here in this first half. Ramblers and Spartans both trying to find their way to an edge to end this first half. Good physicality from the Ramblers. And again, you see Belli being able to use that footwork out of the defensive position to move the ball a little forward from Dublin. And, of course, the first one that comes to mind is Ohio, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dublin, Ohio, if you're not ripping Bridge Park every weeknight, going to the Vaso Rooftop Lounge, or, you know, maybe you're going to Urban Meyer's Pint House. That's a take.
Is it a popular spot?
It is, especially on game days. He's appeared there a few times. I got all the Dublin, Ohio recommendations.
I'll need to take those from you, as we are under 30 seconds here inside the box. Spartans trying to put anything together. to capitalize on what's been a good first half and could be great if they can find their way to a lead.
Yeah, they can, and I'm going to try to rush it here. It'd be a miracle for these last 10 seconds.
7, 6, 5.
Jorth down to the side. It's going to be a goal kick, and that's going to be all we have for you here in the first half. Knotted up at zeros. Perhaps not what you were expecting, but two very good teams coming out here and playing some real solid ball early on. Yeah, that record of 5, I believe, just set last week. Records are made to be broken, so here she is.
And she's so early in her career. She's a redshirt freshman, and she didn't see any action last year. And she's already starting here in her second year. But as a redshirt freshman, you know, she gets 4 more. So it's going to be a long career here for Allison Deerdorf, and she's starting off really well.
As we mentioned earlier, a lot of other kind of action going on here around this very campus. If only we had some kind of a newsman here in this booth that could break it to us. Know of any of those?
You know, I think you're talking about me here. And sure, we'll give you the whole Michigan State rundown. Of course, Loyola and Michigan State in women's soccer that you're watching right now, 0-0, as you can see. Tied up 1-1 going into the third set in volleyball as Michigan State and Loyola are facing off there in the Kathy DeBoer Invitational as well. And over at field hockey, Ralph Young Field, just a little bit east, 2-1. Michigan State is up against Ohio. And that is your campus news briefing of what is happening right now. Plenty
Thank you,
of
Ethan.
action.
We'll get back to you for the weather later. As we move things along here, Loyola had a nice-looking chance down there. Now it's Michigan State on the offensive. Ball laid across the middle onto the right foot. Excellent block. Dropping down and getting in front of it was Emily Roberts. Still hanging around, though. Just can't clear the ball out. Yeah, Michigan State going to have this offensive opportunity squandered by this Loyola defense.
Yeah, Meg Hughes was right there. Couldn't make it happen. Bella Najera was also working that box for what felt like an eternity. Good on Loyola to stay strong right in front of net. But Michigan State can kick it out past the goal box and get some long strikes in, so that's what they're trying to make sure they mark every girl in the box, but so far they've done a good job. Michigan State just endlessly dangerous. You can't say it enough.
Certainly cannot here in the early stages of this second half. Loyola again going for these long clearances. Once again, when you were talking about the way that most soccer teams perform these upsets, it's these long, dangerous passes. Every now and again, you'll just be able to find a window. I like that they're trying to kind of go for that long ball approach so they can sit back on defense here. Again, when you're not only you haven't won a game, but you also haven't tied against Michigan State. One of you is much more content at 0-0 than the other.
Absolutely right. If Loyola can walk away with a 0-0 tie, which still 41-30 to play, so plenty of time, they would be definitely feeling like they walked away with the upper hand, even though Michigan State has held the ball for so long, as this will turn into a Loyola free kick. And that long ball, like you're talking about, helps so much when you have Jocelyn Lay up there. She's been the one that has been trying to receive those attacks. Number 11, they're the farthest most forward on your screen.
A freshman from Evanston, Illinois, site of another Division I soccer team. This one gets dropped back and going to be some dangerous opportunities here. Michigan State, it's a heavy touch laying out for it, and Deerdorf does an excellent job of handling the ball.
Now, this is something that we've seen a few times on Michigan State runs. They're so fast, they poke it ahead and try to run after it. This time it's Bella Najera, and the keeper's gotten to it every time that I've seen them do that this season. She obviously tried to get her foot on it to beat the tie break, and it was Deerdorf that already had her hands around it.
So this is a nice lofted ball, foot race, going to be dropped back and sent out by Parks. Good decision to just try and clear it out. But Loyola Chicago not backing away so easily. Also on that last possession, one of the things I liked from Deerdorf is there's this temptation to try to kind of absorb the ball when they're kicking it at you from that close. Most of the time, you're better off just trying to shove it back into their foot. It makes it easier to get a hold of it in your hands, and it's less likely to go into the net.
Yeah, and that turnover there, the reason that, or at least an example of Loyola not being dangerous at all through the progression phase. They just can't seem to string more than 3 passes together without the Spartans reaching the ball and taking it over.
Only being able to get that count up to 3, it's like the Tootsie Roll owl.
1, a 2, a 3.
That crunch every time, every time.
That crunch is a Michigan State defender.
And it's a beautiful ball, but just offsides. Cryan nearly had the opportunity they'd been waiting for.
Yeah, right there. Just a few inches from a one-on-one opportunity. Deerdorf was able to break a one-on-one opportunity on the other side in the first half. And I suppose if you count that, a one-on-one that she beat Bella Najera to the ball.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Ability to go out there and be aggressive and get the ball outside of the 18 there from Parks. I like that decision instead of waiting for it to come to you.
Yeah, especially when that Loyola player's running at it. That's obviously very, very dangerous. But she wanted to get it over with quickly. And I think here as Gaynor was controlling the ball there, at some point you have the Big Ten reigning freshman and midfielder of the year in Najera and Gaynor. Is that one not called for a foul? At some point, you just got to take the ball at your feet and try to dribble into the box. See what you can make do.
Laid off to Heavey. Heavey tries to take the step, and possession taken away from her there. Kennedy Jones and company going to try to set something up now from the right-hand side. Swinging cross and well handled by this defensive line. I believe that was Belli that got to that one. Out of bounds for another Loyola throw-in. They have had quite a few of those today.
Yeah, Michigan State's been trying to play the outsides and the wings. There's another long throw-in, goes right to Michigan State, but no one there to receive that one. So those throw-ins tend to happen when you're playing those wings, but like we've been talking about, it's the cutting back into the center of the field that Michigan State's been struggling, at least in their attacking zone.
A little bit of a breeze here today as this throw-in comes. This ball kind of bouncing around here in the 18. Going to fall to the foot of Lay, and an excellent deflection. Good work on the back line by Illig.
Yeah, that was 3 chances for a penalty from Loyola because you go up off that header and anything can happen as you come down. Way to keep it clean through 3 heading opportunities for Michigan State. And then, I mean, what a takeaway from Illig because that was going to be an open shot.
And we do have some subs coming in. Noted that one of them is Cassidy Corcione,
Number 3, Taya Jordan.
and the other is Taya Jorth re-entering this game, a starter in this one. Now, I'm going to go the other way for Loyola.
Yeah, and Jorth covering her eye. I think she may have been hit by an errant hand movement.
Those never feel good, even if they're intentional or not.
No, never. But Corcione and Jorth coming on, two defensive players. And Meg Hughes, the leading goal scorer coming off of this Michigan State team. So interesting to see what Jeff Hostler sees out there and what he's trying to pivot to here in the last third of this game to get on the board in some way.
Michigan State trying to do their best. They, in that first half, in the attacking quarter, really, of the field, they spent 20% of their time in there disrupting this Loyola team in that first half. Lofted cross, able to be handled by the defense, and off to the races we go. Taylor Harrison digging in, and she's going to lay this one off for Zoe Heavey. And nice work by the Spartans cleaning up there, and it is getting a little aggressive out there on the pitch.
Yeah, it is, and no fouls have been called off of all these potential fouls in quite some time.
Nice layoff, dangerous chance up on the right, and Matthews not going to be able to keep possession on that one.
Yeah, Emily Matthews, our key player after that hat trick, hasn't gotten back on the board.
4 goals in 3 games for the grad student here.
Yeah, one against Ole Miss as well to complement that hat trick.
So much talent on this Spartan team. Usually at this point in the year, if you have someone with 4 goals, you don't expect to have another person with 4 goals, but that's what the Spartans have.
Yeah, through 6 games. It's been really impressive what Michigan State's been able to do at 4-0-2. Ranked 5th in that top 5 for the first time in program history. Breaking attendance records at the top of the attendance standings at all times. Consistently at the top of the NCAA D1. And I mean, who wouldn't want to watch from those stands right there this beautiful DeMartin pitch, the river just off to our north.
And I believe they're going to bring out the medical training staff. It's Taya Jorth that is down.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Movement around the back for the Spartans. We've had a lot more game than you might think. Only about 18 and a half minutes to go in this one. This has been a much slower second half. This one lofted in, potentially dangerous ball off the foot, and an excellent deflection by Deerdorf. It was a golden opportunity from Jans, and she is turned away by the sophomore.
Allison Deerdorf, her 6th save. What an opportunity this was for Jans, who got that right foot on it and tried to curve it post side. This is their first shot on goal since the 16th minute. You can see there.
Number 27, Lydia Case. And number 11, Jocelyn.
So you saw it pop up there. First shot on goal since the 16th minute of the first half. It had been a while for the Spartans, trying to build another here on the corner. Header popped up. Tillotson going to try and move the ball back around for the Spartans. That's probably going to be about as good of a look as you'll get. That was a very nice save.
Yeah, this has been a day for Deerdorf. Done really well at managing Michigan State's attack. And I mean, this is just so interesting because Michigan State has not looked this offensively incapable even against the top 25 teams they've faced. I think Loyola Chicago just came in with the mindset that they're going to shut anything down that comes their way at all costs.
It's sort of a war of attrition, right? It seems to really be the approach they have. They're going to take the ball, they're going to possess for a long time, and they're going to make it frustrating for this Michigan State team at every turn.
Yeah, and obviously Michigan State still looks incredible through setting up balls and progressing down the field and on the counterattack. It's just those chances that they're not able to capitalize on.
It's an opportunity here for the Spartans following a no call. Over down towards the corner, and these Spartans trying to have better fate than the number 5 ranked team in college football had yesterday. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish lost at home to the Northern Illinois Huskies. It was a surprising one.
It was, and the Huskies, another stop of Angela Stavsky as she has taken her path to head coach of these Loyola Ramblers.
But I mean, that's the danger of being, the number 5 team in the country. There's only 4 teams that aren't directly behind you wanting to, go for the top. So Spartans trying to do their best. Again, they've played a very nice game. It just hasn't translated to a goal at this point.
Right. This is something they're going to have to iron out. They take on Maryland on Thursday in College Park.
Nearly the opportunity they were looking for, but Meg Hughes turned away.
Abel again, graduate student, she's been so good.
After another look at that, you can see just so close, but now a corner kick out swinging. And it's going to be Rambler ball here following a foul in the box.
Yeah, and Abel was down there for a second. She gets up and is just fine. Get another look at it. Just a head knock. That has to hurt. Belli off Abel. She's good, though. Thumbs up.
Now there's some confusion. Is she going to come in? Is she not going to come in? It doesn't seem as though the Ramblers know. It doesn't seem that she knows. And it looks like there will be no substitution here.
She'll just come right back in at the next dead ball stop. And there she goes.
Ah, the lovely nuances of this beautiful game.
And especially with these rules to protect athletes. Obviously, she's fine. Thumbs up. Medical staff cleared her. She can keep playing, but has to come out for 40 seconds because that's how long it takes for the concussion to go away.
Just have to think about it.
No concussion here. She's all good. And everybody doing their due diligence to make sure.
The Loyola bench is frustrated. Swing here to the far side. Tillotson still in this game. She's been a nice physical presence, the junior defender. Under 13 and a half minutes to go in this one. And that one's going to be picked off by the Ramblers. This one laid forward for Lay. Struck back to Parks. Parks going to have to make a quick touch, and she sends it safely off to her left.
Illig's still down back there. Just getting up slowly.
Ramblers now trying to get something going. Lay has the ball taken away from her, but it finds its way back. Real physical up top here for this side. Evie trying to drive in down the right, and that's going to draw a card out of the pocket.
For the first time today, we're seeing a call in Michigan State. The fans erupt like it was a goal because it's been so physical. And nothing's come of it yet, but booked is Zoe Heavey.
And yes, for Heavey here, you can see the contact from behind. It's a good form tackle in football, but not this kind.
Yeah, especially as she was behind her and she was already going to the ground. You could see those arms reach out, and she knew. She turned right around.
Any time where you see that extension, officiating usually going to make the call. So Loyola Chicago now shifting back on defense, 10 players on the defensive half. A matchup renewed for the first time in 14 years.
Right around this time, too, September 10th of 2010.
I guess that's true. Ball bouncing over onto the right-hand side. Hard contact there, no whistle. And again, the officiating staff is really letting these girls play. They are not intervening unless if the contact is rather egregious. Sort of toughness personified.
And that's what the Big Ten's all about. I think that could be the new Big Ten motto.
Opportunity on the outside, cross fired and just a little too deep. No one's going to be able to get to that one. And just as a reminder of the new rules here in the NCAA, the clock will stop for these substitutions. Under 15 minutes to go with both teams tied. And this is a hockey line change that we are looking at.
It very much is. 5 players off for Michigan State, a whole fresh 5 on. And a very attacking 5, I would say. Mackenzie Anthony's had a long time to rest. Najera's back in. Gaynor's back in. And if I were a betting man, which I am in no way, as my position within the athletics department here, I would say that Jeff Hostler said, rush the goal. Make something happen here to go up 1-0 in these last 10 minutes.
And when you bring on those fresh legs, that's what you're looking for. This Loyola team has got to be tired. They have been defending if not the best offense in the country, one of the best offenses in the country. Very tough for nearly 90 minutes.
Yeah, and they've found ways to do it. They can't take the ball off the feet directly, so they're waiting for Michigan State to mess up and trying to get it down to.
Really, I think that's one of the most impressive things that Michigan State has done. They haven't made many mistakes.
Exactly right. They've just tried to force the play into the box, and then once they've done that, they've shut them down there because they have I mean, like 7 players right now hoarded at the center of the field. We thought that would be a problem at the beginning. It turns out to be their greatest asset. And not really letting Michigan State use their speed or make runs at it. Michigan State had plenty of goals against Queens with unmarked women in the box. That is not the case. I think every player that reaches the box has probably about 2 marks on her.
Long ball played back towards the box, and that's in a very nice spot. Good aggression from Heavey. And I got to tell you, Heavey is like the Energizer Bunny, man. She is just marching everywhere.
Yeah, she's been carded, the only player so far. But she's been aggressive in a positive way as well.
One unsporting on a whole lot more tackles is not the worst thing.
Very much right.
Very nice cross, another cross coming in. Touch off the crossbar, and the Ramblers saved by the steal.
Yeah, Najera had that one off the volley, tried to put it top bin, and goes off the rim. Beerworth put it up for her, and Najera just couldn't put it in. And look at her turn away in disgust with how that ball fell.
Put it nearly, you're aiming for the top corner, just a little too on the nose. As this is a nice opportunity here for Hughes. Laid out and nice play by Deerdorf. No chances being taken, and this sophomore has made a name for herself.
She absolutely has. This is by far the best game that she's played this year, especially against the talented forwards that she's had to face. But man, another good save. That one just beyond almost fingertips of the left arm, but safely into the arms.
This ball down towards the corner. Movement back out. Gaynor trying to find some space. Meg Hughes lays it off, and no one was there. But this ball's going to stay in bounds. I don't know how. That ball's flight path was absurd, as this one's tipped back and in. From outside the 18, the chance they'd been looking for. Justina Gaynor knocks it home, and it's 1-0 Spartans.
Elation and relief and a little bit of dancing and a whole lot of smoke. Look at that for Michigan State. What a strike from beyond the 18, the right foot over the hand that's been so good of Deerdorf all day. And that's all Michigan State needs, 3 inches of space. And it's in. Michigan State leads 1-0 here in this game that has been so deadlocked. Finally, the account is open.
And that was an excellent read. Deerdorf just got a little aggressive on that positioning. When you're on that far side, you want to stay closer to your line so you can protect that top. She was too far forwards, trying to make that presence seem bigger, but really vulnerable to those high balls, and one makes her pay.
Yeah, just gets off her line a little bit, like you said. And unfortunate for Deerdorf, she has a class goalkeeper coach as her head coach. Not a whole lot of those in the NCAA. So she gets really great coaching, but that time, just getting off your line, and Spartans make her pay.
And make no mistake, that was no easy goal. That ball had to be put just perfectly up above the hand.
And that's why Gaynor was the Big Ten Midfielder of the Year last year. So good. No longer playing with her sister Celia, has moved on to professional soccer. But she's just fine on her own. The kids are all right.
Michigan State crowd stomping their feet, and the Red Cedar Rowdies are in full force here at DeMartin Field. It's the Spartans trying to put this game on ice, but they're not being conservative here. They are still on the offensive.
Yeah, they're playing exactly like they have the whole time. And we were talking earlier, how do you get past that center blockade of Loyola Chicago players? The answer is have somebody as good as Gaynor to put it in from anywhere. She hit the Cole Palmer chilly celebration in her first goal this season. That time, just a little dance. I think we're going to see a lot more celebrations from Gaynor as the season goes on.
Get her some shears because she'll be cutting a rug. So ball tried to be laid forward, and it'll be another throw in. 4.5 minutes to go. Time will stop now as the Spartans have the lead. Were Loyola to be making a substitution under the new rules, I believe that would be clock continues.
You're really up to date on that handbook. You read through every NCAA regulation. That's very impressive.
I must tell you, as a law student, you're taught to read everything all the way through, and boy, did I read it.
We don't have any Dean Blandinos back in L.A. to cut in and tell us the rules.
Gene Steratore is not with us.
No, not at this time.
We'll have to see what we can make happen on that. But for the time being, I believe I have a folder on my phone of the rules that I thought might be most prevalent. If I ever need to bust them out, I'm ready.
That's what you need.
Though, of course, I say that, and now we're going to see the most absurd thing here in the last 4.5 minutes that I have no idea on.
Some sort of statute put in place in 1909 if a cow runs onto the field or something like that. Something that
whoever owns the cow loses, the
right,
player.
Exactly, and unfortunately, it'll most likely be Michigan State that, the facilities where they keep the farm animals are far enough away that if one ended up on Old College Field, that would be a very impressive, momentous moment. Have to cross a lot of busy streets for that, but
if a cow got over here, there's no better grass to graze than that here. This is a marvelous pitch.
Absolutely it is. None better in the country. Michigan State supplying the World Cup grass, or at least growing it and doing some research on it for 2026 here in America. The first game ever played on indoor real grass soccer was at the last U.S. World Cup in the Pontiac Silver Dome, and Michigan State grew that grass as well. Fun fact for you out there. Turf
Very
Management School here,
nice.
completely unmatched.
We love the ag colleges here in the Midwest, and none better than the one here in East Lansing.
Formerly the Michigan Agricultural College, of course. It was President Hanna that changed it to Michigan State University, but still very agriculturally centered here, even though they lost that name, some 70 years ago.
You can take the name out of the school, but you can't take the ag out.
Very true.
So for Loyola, they have played a very good game, and they're going to do everything they can to try to net one home and at least take home a draw, but they've only got 2.5 minutes to do it. That clock is ticking.
And they haven't been able to win balls off Michigan State very often, through the middle third of the field especially. So if the Spartans can get it safely at their feet, it's going to be hard for Loyola to win it back.
Long boot from Loyola. And Michigan State is just everywhere defensively. These long balls have not been successful against them. And with only 2 minutes to go, See if Loyola has any tricks up their sleeves or if Michigan State will successfully go undefeated in a very tough non-conference.
Yeah, one of the hardest non-conferences schedules that any team has played so far, and that Michigan State has played in a very long time. Number 15, Notre Dame, they take down. Number 9, Arkansas, they tie. They tie number 15, Xavier. They beat Ole Miss, a very good team out of the SEC. And then, as we look forward, at Maryland, home again next Thursday the 19th against Nebraska. That will be Hispanic Heritage Night here in DeMartin.
And I believe you'll be able to see that one on the national network, Big Ten Network.
That's right. And then it'll be Big Ten Network once again when they're at Penn State, which that's just been a rivalry to see, Michigan State versus Penn State women's soccer. Currently the number 8 team in the nation are the Nittany Lions. And Michigan State looking like a strong number 5 here tonight after beating the defensive lockdown that Loyola imposed on them, especially here from Mackenzie Anthony, who's done so good to push that all night.
37 seconds, Spartans trying to run this clock out, just taking it down into the corner.
Parking the bus here. Time for the kids to get out.
And this is obviously going to go down as a loss for Loyola at this point, barring a miracle. But what a game this was for them.
Yeah, they will. As this clock ticks down, I think that just about does it. Keeping it. No score for Loyola against Michigan State since 1993. And Michigan State going to 7-0 all time in the series history.